Jennifer, your big break in TV. Welcome to prime time.
So,
well, yeah, Wes Craven just passed away recently.
Yep.
Was it cancer? I can't remember.
I don't know.
Okay.
I mean,
I forget.
You know, with all due respect, I don't follow. You know, the whole concept of celebrity is just.
Well, yeah, I don't
so,
either, but
you know, I appreciate when an actor or director, somebody in the
Yes,
industry, has their privacy.
well, that
you know. But just the fact that he died, yes, I mean, it's you know, I mean, he was up there. You know, it's not like.
Yeah, it wasn't. I mean,
you know,
yeah.
What was your first exposure to Wes Craven? Was that movie? Was it?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, because I want to say in my mind, for some reason, don't even ask me, Scream 2 and Nightmare on Elm Street, they were purchased around the same time.
Okay. So you're not exactly sure.
Yeah, I think it was a Nightmare on Elm Street. What happened was a couple of times my mom took us to the video store, and we were able to buy a VHS. This was back when, you know, VHS tapes were still kind of, you know, popular.
Well, they were the format.
Yeah. I think, I don't know, but anyway.
In its infancy.
Yeah, and so I bought a Nightmare on Elm Street, and
What were your initial impressions? I mean,
I really liked it, even as a kid.
did you think it was scary? Because that's the one thing I don't know if, besides a few moments in maybe New Nightmare, I've never been that scared of Freddy.
Okay,
Like,
yeah.
I think they're really entertaining.
Yes, yeah. Well, definitely, as you know, as the series goes on, he's not scary at all, almost.
Yeah.
He's
Becomes a
cartoonish.
comedian almost,
Yeah, it's cartoonish. Probably not scared, but
Unnerving at least? Or?
it's uncomfortable, like in a good way. It's very tense in some parts. I'm trying to think. Some of the there was one thing that was
I
kind
thought the prison scene was pretty good, actually.
I was gonna say there's the sequence where she tells her boyfriend, played by Johnny Depp, to wake her up at a certain point. Do you remember that? So she forces herself to sleep. That whole dream sequence is pretty creepy. That's where she goes to the prison, sees him getting killed, but she gets chased by him, and there's some creepy stuff there.
Okay.
Yeah. I think one cool effect, which I think as a kid probably scared me, was, you know, the first girl who dies. Tina,
oh yeah, that's
Tina.
a crazy scene. That's
yeah,
crazy.
when she's in the dream.
I really don't know how they did it.
I know.
Was it a lot of wire work, I guess?
Her going up the ceiling?
Right.
No, the room was upside down, and the camera went upside down with her.
Okay.
It's confusing, but
that's pretty crazy.
That's
cool.
The room was built upside down, so you could play around with, you know what I mean?
What stands out as making it successful, though? I mean,
What, that part?
No, I
Of
mean,
the
what
movie?
components of the film? You know, just like we were saying
Well,
with the music. Or,
in the slasher genre, it's original.
it is original, and
You
it's a
don't
little
have-
more intelligent.
A little more intelligent. I do like in the first one, there's a deeper idea going on. The fact that, the idea being that the only reason that he's able to do what he does is because she gives him
Power.
because by fearing him, that gives him power. I just thought that was an interesting idea. Like I said, the idea is original. It's not just another Jason or a Michael Myers or it's just more original. And the idea that it is.
And he's a weird kind of design too, like his whole
Freddy
situation.
Or Freddy Krueger.
Yeah, Mercury.
No, Freddy Krueger.
Yeah, he's kind of a weird.
And he talks, which is unusual.
Right,
Most of them
right,
don't talk.
Right. He teases them basically.
Yes. And see, in the first one, I do think that's creepy because his voice is a little different in that, I feel like. It's not quite the same as it goes on. And he doesn't say as much. He's not very comical in it, really.
Right. I mean, he's kind of, teasing. I mean,
yes,
in a very dark way.
And it's also cool because Wes Craven does shoot him early in the film more in shadow, more in darkness, where you don't get a great look at him until a little later in the film.
Yeah.
So it adds mystique to, he's mysterious looking. You're not sure until later.
What do you think of the performances?
They're pretty good for a low budget movie. you can see some weaknesses, but generally I do like her.
Was it Hellenkamp or
Heather Langenkamp.
Langenkamp? I don't think she's that. She's okay.
I like her. I like her in the movie. I think she's a strong, unique, original character.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, she has some weaker moments. I think it was her first movie. She's younger in it. She's probably about 20-something.
Was it her first? I'm not really familiar.
Not her very first, but I think, she's
early
younger.
in her career.
Yeah, yeah. And for what she did and for a low-budget type movie, she does a good job. Yeah, there's parts where she's a little strained, but you know what I mean?
What do you think of England's performance? I mean...
He's great, yeah.
Yeah.
I think he's good.
Yeah. What do you think of the music?
I actually do like the music in the first one.
No,
it stands out.
I don't know who did it. I'm not sure.
I don't need it. It does that. Certain parts are like that. The other thing I loved, I remember liking it as a kid too when I watched it, the ending where she sets up all the traps and stuff like that. Just felt original and kind of unique to me.
Well, that she's fighting back like that,
Yeah, like never in a slasher film would they do that. It's just it always is the same thing. The lead character finds all the dead bodies and then is chased until she kills them, and I like that.
Yeah,
and I remember as a kid it was fun to then after her setting it up see it all happen, like setting it up. You know what I mean, like the door with the sledgehammer
and doesn't the light bulb.
I like the explosion.
Right.
Yeah, there's the other thing that's really impressive is the guy, the stuntman, is on fire for a long stretch of time.
Yeah, I know.
And it's a long take. I don't think they cut.
Yeah,
and,
I know it is.
It's pretty impressive.
Yeah.
I mean, he's just walking around being on fire. It's pretty crazy.
Yeah, I mean, there's definitely a reason why it's so iconic.
Yeah, yeah.
It did not need to be remade.
No. Did you see it?
No, but I mean, universally, it was so panned.
Yeah, it looked bad. I didn't even have a desire to try.
Yeah.
The one guy I don't think did a great job.
You see, although he's a good actor.
I heard,
he is. But
the makeup sucks. Mm-hmm. That's first. That's number one.
Doesn't it say something when you've got guys in the 80s remaking The Blob, The Fly, The Thing, and they make as good movies, if not better. Yeah. But now, when they're remade, it's, they're crap.
I know.
What does that say about, the industry? I mean...
Well, they appeal to the lowest common denominator, essentially, I think. And they just rely too heavily on the name to sell tickets. You know what I mean? They don't really look to make quality remakes. You know what I mean? They go, there's a built-in audience. We don't have to advertise it that much. We don't have to build in an audience where it will just...
Right.
It's very half-assed, just like whatever.
And they just throw it to some director who has no talent.
Yeah, pretty much. And they'll just probably do anything the producers want.
Now, what about the ending?
The very end?
Yeah.
Well, yeah, it's lame. I mean,
it's lame.
But like we've talked about, he was made to have that ending. His original ending was just going to be actually a happy.
Yeah, I know.
Everything's fine ending. Producers made him put in a hanger or type ending.
They could have easily done a cliffhanger though if they had just had those kids jump roping in the background.
I know.
And it just the camera had that would have been enough to kind of keep some.
Well, the producers not only asked him to do that, but they wanted him. They were specific about how the ending that it had to be over the top like that. I think. They compromised halfway. I think it was even more over the top. The producers wanted it even more. And Wes Craven was like, we have to compromise somehow. And his thing was always like, well, this guy actually believed in me and gave me all my money, the producer, to make it. And so he just kind of was...
owed him a little bit.
Yeah, and just did it.
Obligated,
I think in a lot of ways you don't even consider it part of the... I just forget it.
I try to just forget it.
Yeah, I just forget it. Yeah. So
the second one.
All right, the third one? That's right. Yeah, the second one.
I mean, we got to at least touch on it.
I know, I'm kidding. It sucks really bad.
It does. It's It's above Freddy's Dead, but
Whoa.
yeah,
That's
yeah,
low standard.
yeah, but it's bad.
It has some things that are cool. Some of the
Yeah, there's a
effects
few things.
are okay.
I like the beginning situation when
Remind-
they're in the bus.
Oh yeah, that's
You
kind of
know.
interesting. Yeah.
Of course, the main issue is just how it breaks its own rules.
Yeah,
You know.
like there's parts where he shouldn't be, right? Like he's not.
He
in
just
a
jumps
dream.
out of the pool.
Yeah, yeah.
He just jumps out of the pool.
Yeah.
Whereas in the original movie, it established that you had to like have physical contact with him to pull him out. You know.
Yeah, yeah.
Dream.
Exactly. Well, they try to establish the idea that he comes out of his body, Jesse.
Yeah, that makes no freaking
I
sense.
know.
either.
Not only does that make sense, but that effect is kind of cool. Like he explodes out of his stomach.
Right, but
But
otherwise,
it's like, okay, whatever.
Yeah.
There's also, I don't know if you've ever, there's a huge gay overtone in that movie where the lead character is obviously gay and he is really in real life.
was
the
that
actor.
intentional?
I've heard, yes. What happened was the scriptwriter wrote it as sort of like a very like motif, like very hidden. And the problem is once they hire that actor who is really gay in real life.
Did they know he was gay?
I don't think so. And so it just makes the gay aspect
accentuates it,
very
yeah.
Obvious. Yep.
Yeah. Yeah, the one scene where he goes to the gay bar
Yeah,
for
I
some
know.
reason, and
the gym
sees this
teachers, man.
gym teacher, and what authority does he have to like
Tell
drag
him-
him back to the school?
Yeah, I know.
And have him run laps around the.
It was weird. And the way he dies is gay too. He like
Yeah.
slaps him with a towel. I mean, it's very weird.
Yeah, it's.
It sucks.
Yeah, it's.
In
bad.
fact, I think the next sequels just totally forgot it happened.
They did.
Yeah.
Yeah, they totally. Well, I mean, the third one.
It throws off the timeline too because it's supposed to happen like
That's right.
a couple years
Yes.
after the first one, so it takes place in the future.
It's just a total cash
yeah,
in.
yeah, it was horrible.
Total cash in.
Thank God, at least with the third one, they took care.
They came back together.
Yeah,
And I'd say it's, in my opinion, it's on par with the first one.
oh yeah, yeah, it's good.
Yeah. The writing's good. It's more intelligent.
Yeah, I can't. Yeah, I can't.
You
think
care
of a
about the
flaw.
characters. I think it's a cool concept that the whole Dream Warrior thing.
Yeah,
they
yeah.
can, if they imagine it, they can have these powers
That is cool.
in their
yeah.
dreams,
Yeah,
you
I
know,
like that
and
too.
fight back
Yes.
against him.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah, that is cool. Some
And
good lines from Freddy in this.
I think there's a good balance
Yeah,
of
yeah.
the humor and it's still being hard. You
Yeah.
know, there's a good balance to it.
I remember the part where the girl who's the drug addict. All of a sudden his hands pop out with needles.
Yeah,
He's like, let's get high.
Yeah, yeah.
And of course we know the famous one with the TV.
Oh, that's hilarious.
It's a cool effect too.
It is,
His head
yeah.
pops out.
Right.
Yeah.
And that makes me think about the really cool effect in the first one where he's like on the ceiling.
Oh, that is so cool.
And if you look
It's
at
practical.
I know, and if you look at the remake,
It's all CGI.
it's CGI and it looks stupid.
It looks shit.
So stupid.
You know all they did with that was
I know, it was the simplest.
it was spandex.
Yeah.
And it was just lighting to hide the spandex, and it's amazing.
Yeah,
I mean, the
it's
effect
so
is
creepy.
awesome. And the freaking remake, not only that, but they totally overdo it. Instead of him just coming through, he's like turning around.
I know.
And it's like,
I know. It's so ridiculous.
I know. Why even bother?
But anyway,
Sucks.
yeah, the third one, you know, you care about the characters.
Yeah, that's important.
Yeah.
Sometimes people don't get that.
Yeah, there's a
They'll
lot
just
of
do
character
cardboard
building
cutouts.
scenes. You know, there's a lot of character building scenes.
Sure. I think the fact they're
uh,
all sick too makes you have compassion for them.
The male lead, I think he does a good job of being kind of the.
Is he the doctor or no?
Yeah, he's the
Yeah, yeah.
psychiatrist, I think,
Yeah.
that's there who starts to believe in
Yes.
Langenkamp's
Yeah,
you
yeah.
know, conceit.
She's good in this.
She is.
Yeah.
Yeah, she's better, I
Yeah.
think. It's cool to see John Saxon come back.
Yeah,
He's a
yeah.
good actor.
Yeah, he is good.
And that's another scene that really sticks out to me is when they go and they're trying to find his body.
That's
And-
the skeletons.
And the skeleton comes to life.
That's cool.
Freddy can he somehow can tell that they're near him or
Yeah,
something.
that's
or
cool. Yeah.
And it's just a cool little thing.
Yeah, yeah. He dies in that though, right? John Saxon.
He throws him against some metal or something.
Yeah, and he dies.
pierces him. Yeah.
Okay.
But trying to
Heather
remember how-
Langenkamp's character does too. Die.
No, she doesn't. She doesn't die.
Dude, at the Heather Langenkamp's character in
What happens?
She dies. She I can't think of it now, but in fact,
it when they're
in fact
in the
that
mirrors, or
dude, in fact, at the very end of the movie, they had her funeral.
oh, I'm sorry. Okay.
Yeah.
I guess the
I
way
can't
it
remember,
happens, it
but-
kind of just.
I think
You know.
I think he just
He
stabbed
gets her.
with
He finally gets
the
her.
finger, yeah,
Right.
with his hand.
Yeah. Well, and that's gutsy too. I mean,
Yeah,
to do that, you know.
That's
to
what I
go
mean.
off, yeah. Or,
That was stuff that surprised you.
yeah.
You know, so
Um,
it kind of sucked. I mean, it was kind of like a shame that because they
Yeah.
could have maybe done more with her, but
I also thought it was cool that they added to the universe of the franchise by
The souls.
the soul thing that was more, I think, in the fourth.
they talk
Fourth or
about it in the
fifth one.
third because he lifts up his shirt and he
Oh,
does
that's
some
right.
part. Yeah,
That's right.
Yeah,
That's interesting.
they started that
Yeah.
mythology.
Like I said, I think it's cool that they actually got into a trilogy. That they did
Yes.
the trilogy of 3, 4, and 5, and they're
Yes.
connected.
Yep.
Um, So, yeah, I mean, it's a success. Third one on par with the first one.
Yeah, and they go into a little bit of his backstory.
That's what I was going to say too,
The
without
non-
making it too explicit either.
Yes.
Which Freddy did.
Yeah.
Freddy's dead,
Yeah.
Yeah. So.
And I like. Yeah, I think isn't it kind of it's a secret. By the end of the movie, you find out that he's been talking to the ghost of Amanda Kruger, right?
The mother.
The mother.
Yeah,
that's-
Freddy Krueger's
Yeah, the
mother,
nun.
yeah.
Yeah.
So is that all we have to say? I guess, about the
Yeah.
third
Yeah.
one? So what about the fourth one then? I mean, I know you haven't. See, I've watched them all just recently.
I remember. I just saw him like a year ago. It's not that.
The one thing, of course, is the original female
Alice.
lead from the first one, or the third
Oh,
one.
that one. Yeah.
Is replaced with a different actress,
Yeah.
although she's not in it for a long time.
No.
I think
That was-
again it was gutsy that they kill her off too. Like,
I do.
you know,
I do think like it's a little like unnecessary. They literally in the first 30 minutes kill off all the 3 remaining characters. And it's
Yeah,
like, couldn't we have just
I know you
waited
could have
or
kept
something?
a few of the people.
Or just waited? I mean, it just felt like we got to do this.
Also, the way that he's resurrected is just
Abysmal.
so bogus.
Yeah,
It's
they don't
so
even give a
bogus.
crap. I know.
Apparently,
I mean-
that was Rennie Harlan,
Yes.
who
did Die Hard 2.
he did Die Hard 2. He did Cliffhanger with Sylvester Stallone.
Okay, yeah.
He did a movie actually that I was pretty impressed with that Scream Factory released recently in a special edition on Blu-ray. Prison.
Okay.
That's not that bad.
I'll have to check that out.
Yeah, that's not that bad. With Viggo
Mortensen?
Mortensen, is that how you say it?
Yeah.
As the lead actor.
Okay.
He's okay.
Yeah.
I mean, he's competent.
Who?
Rennie Harlan.
Oh,
he's,
yeah.
He's okay.
That's a director.
Yeah, he's not Huey. He's not Huey Boll
No,
or whatever.
no, he's
I
not
mean,
great though. He's
no,
made
he's
some
not.
really
No.
shit.
Yeah, yeah. Well, yeah, but I mean,
He did some interesting shots in 4, Nightmare on Elm Street 4.
Yeah, he did. Well, the whole cockroach thing is kind of funny.
Yeah.
Or interesting.
And then there's a part where she realizes she's taking a sleeping medicine. And he does this cool, like, all long shot where it's bird's eye view of her, like, looking for, what is she looking for? She doesn't want to fall asleep, and I forget what she's looking for, but...
like some pill or something to
yeah,
help her.
he does a similar shot when that one girl falls asleep in the classroom. The floor changes where she is sitting in the middle, and the floor changes where it's like she's the target on the floor.
Yeah.
There's some cool stuff like that. But this is where Freddy gets kind of goofy. He's not even scary in this one, I think. He's completely nothing.
Yeah. Still,
When he
I
pops
found it-
out, you're just like, whatever.
Still, though, it still makes for an entertaining film.
It's entertaining, yeah.
Yeah.
Sure.
It's no art, but it's entertaining.
Yeah, it's entertaining.
Basically, the same thing I can say for the fifth one.
Yeah, it's
it's
It is what it is.
It's okay.
I mean, yeah.
It's a masterpiece compared to the Friday the 13th movies. I mean, you know what I mean?
Yeah, well,
Because
we had talked about that. You can
it's
at
more
least,
creative.
Yeah, you can get entertainment out of the imagination that goes into killing people. It's not just, you know what I mean?
As macabre as that sounds, of course.
Yeah,
or,
yeah. Well, there's more imagination.
Right.
I mean,
Right.
Jason just, stabs somebody in the eyes. It's like, okay, whatever. I don't care.
Remember the one where he squeezes his head and makes the eye pop out,
Oh.
which is such a bad effect.
I know. What you're talking. That's the third one, I think. Because the eye comes at the screen, like it's 3D.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's the third one. Yeah, the third one was like in 3D, right? Originally
Yeah.
or something.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, there's not really much to say about the fifth one either.
I know.
I
It's
mean,
okay. I mean,
yeah, it's
entertainable
okay. Yeah.
and enjoyable.
Entertainable.
I know. It's entertaining, but it's...
And I do have to say, it does have one of the most gross out affecting scenes.
The food.
Yeah.
I know.
Yeah, it's real. Like
know.
we were saying, there's an on-rated version.
I know, because
but it's never been released. It's
Yeah.
like, come on, at this point, guys, you got it on Blu-ray. Just give us the unrated thing.
I don't know why they just don't make an unrated cut of it
I know,
with that in
I know.
or something.
Because
I think there's other scenes they had to cut down. Just make an uncut version or
Right.
director's cut
Yeah.
or something. Yeah, the food death is disturbing. I'm trying to think. The weird thing is Alice lives, right?
well,
Till the end.
and she kills him, or she takes him out.
In the
finally,
fifth
end.
one. I know in the
She
fourth
sh-
one she does.
Yeah, she shows himself
The mirror.
in the mirror.
Yes, that's
and
right.
somehow, because, they're still dealing with the whole soul thing.
Yes, yeah. Or is that the fourth one?
No, I'm pretty sure it's the fifth one.
Okay. I haven't seen the fifth one in a while. I think that's the fourth one.
Maybe.
They're fighting in the church, and the
Yes.
idea is that evil see evil, or evil can't.
Well, how does the fifth one end? Do you remember?
I don't remember. I haven't seen it in...
Does the mother come back, like in the dream,
I
and
don't
like take
remember.
him?
It's been years since I've seen that. I've seen the fourth one more recently.
Maybe somehow they put him to rest finally? Is that what it
Can't
is?
remember.
Yeah, I can't remember.
But Alice lives?
I'm pretty
Because
sure.
she's totally dropped in the next one. She never...
Freddy's Dead is just its own thing. I mean, it's just
it's-
like, it's so...
It's stupid.
Yeah.
And I can't believe they thought that was a fitting end
I
to the
know.
series. I mean, it's
I know.
ridiculous.
Just should have ended it with the fifth one, which it was a proper ending.
Sure.
You know, because like I said, the trilogy of the three,
Makes sense.
and you have a coherent storyline, and
Yeah, Freddy's Dead was
just abysmal.
Yeah, it's
Just
not,
all around. It's just boring. Like the whole part where they
boring.
they can't get out of the town.
Oh, I know.
It's such a boring
I know part.
stretch.
And how about the time they're in that house for for half an hour?
Yeah.
It's so
The
boring.
video game part, I mean,
It's
everybody talks
retarded.
about
I know.
that.
It's ridiculous.
Is there anything creative that happens otherwise? I mean,
I don't think there's anything creative.
yeah, I mean,
It's really boring.
yeah, it's just boring.
It's pretty bad.
Yeah.
It's
And
not
the
funny.
backstory stuff too is just unnecessary.
It doesn't work.
Yeah.
It's not even funny. Like it's
No.
trying to be funny, and
No.
it's not even funny.
I don't think we have to say anything else.
Yeah,
about
it's
it,
not
right?
scary. It's horrible.
Yeah. So
Um,
Wes Craven's New Nightmare,
Wes Craven's New Nightmare. Yeah.
which I think is, we've said this before. I mean, it's definitely on par with the third one and the first one, in my opinion.
Yeah, I
mean-
think if you want to if you don't want to watch the whole franchise, just watch those.
First, third, and
Yeah.
You could just do that, and that would be
Yeah.
fine.
Yeah.
Langenkamp, she does a good job.
Mm-hmm.
Again, a better job,
Yeah, she's really good in it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Robert Englund, it's cool to see him
It's
without
cool.
the makeup,
Yeah,
of course, and he does a good job. I mean, the whole concept is just so cool. It's
is.
really interesting.
Yeah.
I guess it's called, it's considered like a meta film.
Yeah. Where there's a film within.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was shocked that Mojo,
Watch
Watch Mojo
Mojo
didn't include it on their top meta films.
Meta films. Yeah.
Yeah, but
Yeah. It's interesting.
it's a really creative
idea.
concept.
Yeah.
Yeah. I love the part where she's with Wes Craven, and she looks on the computer screen, and it's literally saying
what they just said.
It's
yeah.
really cool.
That is cool. Yeah.
His acting's a little stiff.
Well, of course.
You
Yeah.
know,
Luckily,
yeah,
he's
he
not
does
in it
okay.
that much.
No,
so
he does okay.
He's in that one scene, I think.
Yeah. But he does okay.
Yeah, for what he needs to do.
Yeah.
It's not like he's
Yeah.
abysmal.
What do you think of the redesigned look of Freddy?
I thought it was cool.
Yeah, I thought it was.
One
yeah.
thing that's cool is, it's technically not really the Freddy that we've seen in the movies.
Yeah, his
It's-
flesh isn't burned. It's just like he...
I've read that it's sort of like the look is like his skin is splitting open, sort of.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah.
Yeah, they gave him a couple of different things. The hat, I don't think that was unusual.
And didn't they put a claw on the thumb?
I don't know, but it's no longer a glove. It's part of his hand.
Okay.
The claws, if you remember.
I think so. Yeah.
It's like his flesh and then the claws.
Right.
There's no glove. Yeah, it's a creepy film.
Yeah, and it's impressive how late in the movie he shows up.
I know, we talked about it recently, but it is, when you first see it, it is so startling and creepy when he pops out of that closet. Yeah, you're like, you know, because you haven't seen him really.
Yeah, it's effective.
And you don't know, you don't really expect him. That's the cool thing, it's a slow burn, the movie doesn't...
It really, yeah,
it really, builds and builds, yeah.
What am I trying to say? Yeah, it builds, I guess, it's fine, yeah.
Yeah, it's not just like, oh, here's Freddy, we're going to see him kill for an hour and a half.
Yeah, I mean, I think, you know, overall it was a success. I even thought the kid did a good job.
Yeah.
You know, he was in a few other things at that time.
Yeah,
period,
yeah.
But, you know, he did a good job.
I think he was in Full House, the TV show.
Okay, okay.
So, but yeah, he was good.
John Saxon even came back.
Mm-hmm.
That was cool.
That was cool.
I love the part where she realizes that he's now the father. Like, because remember he starts talking to her as if he's her father.
At that house, yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I always liked. Yeah, I like the that whole like the idea that like going under the bed and then going into his like lair. I don't know why I thought that was cool.
Yeah.
Or when he pops out under the bed and then cuts the sheet. You remember that part?
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah. So that was cool.
Yeah. Anything else? I mean, about it? I think it was just a great send-off.
Yeah,
it was a way for him to say it's done.
Yeah.
You know, the series is over.
I know.
It's cool that he came back too. Of course. That,
yeah.
You know, he began the series and he ended it.
He did the series. Yep.
You know, it wasn't successful though, as far as I'm aware. I think it made only half of its budget back.
It bombed.
I think because people, they saw Freddy's dead.
Yeah, and we're just like, it's over. Yeah.
And the average person doesn't pay attention to who's directing.
I know.
So, you know,
and to be honest,
you and I would say, oh, Wes Craven's back. You know what I mean? But the average person's like, oh, Freddy's Dead sucked. And this one, you know, I'm not interested.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah, I think the fifth one made money, but it wasn't a huge hit.
The fifth one.
Yeah, the fifth one. And then they were like, okay, let's try to make money by saying we'll make Freddy's Dead like it's the end.
Be the last one.
And I don't think Freddy's Dead did all that great either, to be honest with you. And then they came, you know, all that, yeah, and that bombed. It did gain a audience from DVD and stuff, supposedly.
Yeah.
It does have a decent following.
Right.
So what were you going to say?
I was going to say that for the longest time, though, it was the most successful horror franchise.
Was it?
As far, you know, as the income, the money
that makes sense, I guess, yeah.
It wasn't until either the Scream franchise or maybe Saw. Saw, that's what I was going to say,
Probably,
yeah. One of those two finally supplanted it in the 90s there, I think.
Okay.
But yeah, for the longest time, I mean, they call the franchise, or they call New Line Cinema the house that Freddy built.
Yep.
Because that series, I mean...
A Nightmare on Elm Street, the first one, is what made it even a... I mean, it was barely a studio, I think. And
yeah.
It made it a studio.
And then they went on to releasing some of the most successful movies, like
Lord of the Rings,
the Lord of the Rings trilogy.
Yep.
The new ones, the Hobbit ones, I'm not sure.
Are they doing them? I don't know.
I'm not sure. He might have his own...
They're not very good, are they?
Who?
Hobbit.
Oh, no, I'm so disappointed in those.
Did the third one come out yet?
Yeah. They should have just made... One movie. Two, I could see working. Two.
Yeah.
But the fact is that book...
I know, you're stretching like a 200-page book into like 8 hours or whatever,
it's
9 hours or whatever.
Footage, yeah, it's ridiculous.
Yeah. You said like there was a part in the book where some like creatures came over a mountain like in a foggy mist.
And you didn't need to see it.
Yeah, and in that movie they like make it like 20 minutes.
Right,
yeah.
Yeah, it's
like,
ridiculous.
Jesus, Mary and Joseph. Well, so anyway, yeah, so...
Nightmare on Elm Street, totally iconic.
Yeah.
There's a reason they tried to remake it. There's a reason that people, you know, it's
like
still in the collective consciousness.
Yep. And you just bought the set recently, right?
Blu-ray.
Blu-ray. How is it?
It's good.
Good special features.
Yeah, good special features. I guess 2 complaints. The first one has its own disc.
Oh, that's cool.
And I know Blu-ray, there's tons of space.
I know, yeah. The other ones share.
The
right?
other ones share.
Okay.
Yeah. So that's a little kind of frustrating.
Okay.
The second thing though is that it doesn't include Freddy vs. Jason.
Oh.
Whereas the DVD version of the set did.
I know.
So what's the problem?
I don't know. That's weird.
New Line owns both of those properties now.
Yeah, I know.
So I don't know what the issue is, but I guess we can touch on that.
Yeah,
too,
yeah.
You know,
and
I saw recently.
I'm very vague
time?
on
Oh,
it,
okay.
but yeah, it's been a couple years.
Oh, do you remember your impression of it though?
I remember
Freddy
thinking,
vs. Jason.
I remember thinking it was okay.
It could have been a lot worse.
Oh yeah.
You know, it could have
Sure.
been. Yeah.
Absolutely sure.
I mean, after Freddy's dead, even though you had, Wes Craven's New Nightmare.
That's almost a separate, because it totally discounts.
It is.
Yeah, it's
it
kind
is.
of like
But I'm just saying that you could have been expecting some shit. You know.
It could have been pretty bad. Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't remember it that well. I do hear people actually praise it as a decent, like, fun.
Yeah, I think
versus movie.
Yeah, I think it's decent. You know, for that kind of situation. I mean, I've heard people, and I felt this way too before I even read it. You know, a lot of people criticize that it feels like it's Nightmare on Elm Street with Jason.
I know.
You know what I mean? That Jason isn't given it. But again, just like we were talking about, there's so much more to the story with Nightmare on Elm Street that that's just how it's naturally going to be. I mean, Jason's just Jason.
I know.
And,
how much are you going to explore with that?
Right.
I mean,
so
it is what it is.
That's why I think it's justifiable he doesn't have as much of a presence.
Yeah, also, he talks.
What?
Freddy.
Freddy talks, right.
You know what I mean? Like, Jason doesn't say anything.
Right.
So it's like, you need...
How much can you do with it?
Yeah, you need something... Yeah.
I do think the one part is really cool. It's one of the best dream sequences I think they ever filmed, when he's fighting Jason, and Jason turns into a kid in the dream, and he's afraid of the water.
Oh, that's right.
I think that was just a really well done...
Yeah, you told me about that.
Not that it's scary, but just how imaginative.
Yeah, no, I got you, man. I got you.
I mean, it seems to be a movie that definitely... It's not taking itself seriously. You know what I mean? It's in on a joke. It's just trying to be fun.
Gotcha.
And it's it's competent.
Yeah.
I think for what it is.
So,
yeah. Robert Englund's last performance
as Freddy. Yeah.
As Freddy.
Yep.
I believe Kane Hodder, they did not rehire him.
They didn't.
Because
there was a whole little controversy with that.
Yeah.
They didn't. He wanted more money.
Tall enough, and he was too husky looking. I
think
guess.
he wanted more money. And they wouldn't pay it. I think that's what it came down to, really. I think that's all just excuses.
Well, what I had heard as well is that he was, and I mean, it's kind of stupid, but he was difficult to work with because I guess he really felt like at a certain point after doing quite a few of the movies that he like owned the character.
Oh. Okay.
So he felt like, I guess he would give the directors issues or the screenwriters and say, no, Jason doesn't do that. He doesn't act that way. And it's like, dude, chill out.
I know, really.
You're playing this
mindless
undead,
killer.
mindless killer.
He's a freaking zombie at this point.
Yeah, just
get
calm
over
down.
It. Okay, I don't know if that's true, but if it is, that's pretty lame.
Yeah.
I mean, just...
Yeah, chill out.
It's not like we're talking about this deep...
I know.
You know what I mean? So, that's weird.
It's not artistic.
No, not really.
So, but yeah, I mean, as its own separate thing, essentially, it's decent. So.
Yeah.